Good evening, racing fans. We're back with the rFactor 2 GT Pro Series powered by VCO Esports. And as you can see from our beautiful picture, we're here in the US with Indianapolis, not for the Indy 500, but for round 5 of the Pro Series. My name is Randy Butler, and with me is Lee Smith, bringing you all the action right from the track. And since this is penultimate lap, there will be a penultimate round. There will be a ton of action, right, Luke?
Well, we can only hope so. If it's to match the last couple of races we've had, it's definitely been some pretty feisty action, that's for sure. We'll see whether obviously these guys can put in the overtakes. Obviously, being Indianapolis, there is still a couple of nice overtaking positions. They made a couple for themselves in the last race we had, so you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and if you see on the screens, Indianapolis, don't worry, this is not like you need to open all these different doors with the numbers. No, that's not what we're playing. Those are the actual corner numbers, and it's the usual format. It's 15-minute sprint race after 10-minute qualification and a 45-minute main race, but with the top 10 being reversed. So we saw that this season, last season, lots of overtaking happening in the main race, and everyone wants to grab points because we're nearly at the end. I mean, we still got someone in the lead of the championship that I would say it was to be expected, right? It's Jajovski currently being in the lead, but there's so many more positions where people are still fighting for either making the top 10 to get all that money or trying to make sure that they stay within Pro, because there's no other way with becoming into Pro Series other than going through feeder series or actually staying with enough points in the Pro season for Season 3. Round 5, as I said, it's Indianapolis. Round 6, then, we'll see us heading over to Europe again, mainland for Spa-Francorchamps. So you will see another big event just right after our 3 hour. Did you see the 3 hour race, Lee?
No, I've been literally doing shows every day, non-stop since I've been here. It's I've been pretty busy. It's almost like I've done 2 shows today.
That's how you need to go. Like you just need to do more of them. Let's have a quick look at the overtaking spots or the important bits on Indianapolis, which is a very, very floating track. I mean, there's a lot of corners where you break from one into another, a lot of weight shifting, and obviously the backstretch is a chance to overtake before we head over onto this oval that you see here. You're coming into that banking, and then you can use all the slipstream down to turn 1, but turn 1 isn't easy at all because you really have to throw the brakes in, make sure that you stop in time. Round by round prize money, it's the usual. So the winner of the race gets €250, and then all the way down to position 15. That is per round. So race today with sprint and main race. And on the right, the championship prize money at the end of the season. So after we visited Spa and actually know who our champion is. They also get some cool Fanatec gear. Thanks, and shout out to Fanatec for that. Cool new steering wheels. I'm pretty sure that Jajovski by now has tons of them. We talked about it last time, probably opening his own sim academy, but that is fine. He deserves them. But let's see if that will be the same here in Indianapolis, Lee, because we just had another round of BOP, and quite a few things changed, although the BMW stayed the same.
Yeah, and going back to the wheels, I mean, Jajovski's won, 3 sprint races running, so we'll see whether he can keep it up here. However, Al Sabti is the one that's won the last 2 main races, so there's still plenty of action to be had.
Definitely. Well, as I said, Kevin Siggy currently in the lead with the only BMW in the field. Jonas Raivio on a 2nd, and then Risto Capet on 3rd, Jajovski 4th, and Nikita Wisniewski from Williams Esports in 5th. We have -5 kilograms on the Ferraris, on the 488 GT3s, and I think -10 for the Porsche 911 GT3. So let's quickly check. The quickest Porsche is currently in 9th. That is Figner Schara. The second Porsche is in 15th. And the quickest Ferrari, that should be, let me quickly click through everyone, Martin Durland on 16th right now with the John Elise Esports car. So Jimmy Nisula, Satellite Racing, we're now only in 18th, but 2 green sectors so far. No, that is the way up onto start finish straight, and then he just parking it there. I really wanted to make a thing out of him crossing the line, and then he does that to me. I think that's not fair.
A couple of the drivers, obviously, that broke into the top 10 previously on the Nürburgring. Lorenzo Risi Daniel Canestracci. I'm ruining his surname.
Canestracci.
Canestracci got there in the end. Almost breaking into the top 10. As I said that, I gave him the curse. I gave him the curse because Chiara Rene, it's just gone 10th.
He was 9th before.
Well,
you missed that. I said that.
I did miss that.
Yeah,
I was so
9th
excited
before.
that I saw the Porsche in 9th. I know he's down to 11th. Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Now you cursed him as well.
So
he will drop even further. Let's see if Lorenzo Risi can actually bring that Corvette a bit higher up. He does on 8th right now. And that gives us a bit of time now since the last 5.5 minutes now on the clock to quickly go through the standings. So Yayovsky is our current championship leader. Haniel Sapti is second. Then Journey Simoncic, which means that is the first non-Roman Grosjean Esports driver in third because he's driving for Burst. Then it's Risto Capit and Kevin Siggy in 5th. These are the top 5. But what's also interesting is everyone below 20th, because 21st to 25th, that will be the drivers that have to go through relegation to actually stay inside Pro. And then 26 to 30, those are the drivers that will drop out of Pro no matter what. There's no second chance for them. They won't be with us next season if it stays like that. Currently, that would be Nuno Pinto from AAA Esports, Borja Milan from 1ICO, Payo Path from Butler Motorsport, Zido Vaya from Sancho, and Robin Ponsa from Burst Esports. So these guys only have here Indianapolis and Spa next to score the points to ensure that they will still be with us next season.
Yeah, and I mean, Payo Path's the only guy that's in a Porsche out of them. Everybody else in a Corvette, so not really any excuses, I hate to say. Obviously, you know, someone's always going to have a problem in some of the races, which is, you know, forgiving. That's why there's this discrepancy. We're allowed to remove one of the races away from their scoreboard. But yeah, they've got these 2 races, this one, and then of course in Spa, to try and rescue their tournament here effectively in the championship and make sure they can stay here. Of course, we're always going to have 5 drivers that drop. There's no way around it, Rene. So, you know, it sucks to be there, but there is obviously the Challenger Series there for a reason.
Yeah, definitely. The Challenger Series will be up next on Monday, also in Indianapolis with Lewis McLeod and Aidan Millward, so make sure that that's on your calendar. But you're right. I mean, there are 4 Corvette drivers, and Borja Milan, for example, he was really unlucky. If I look at his scoreboard, it's basically 2 zeros for Sebring, 0 and 8 for Portland, then a double 0 again in Virginia, and a 0 and 14 points, 14 which is quite strong at the Nürburgring. So not the best season for him. Very, very unlucky. We know that Milan is capable of doing more. That's for sure. Same for Zido Vaya, I would say, from Sancho, who also has many sprint races with 0. Actually, there's not a single sprint race yet where he scored. Yeah, I think that's quite interesting.
I mean, the thing is obviously that it's always going to be harder down the back of the pack, I feel, because obviously you're generally going to be involved in possibly an incident or 2, or even if there's an incident further up, everybody's going to try and avoid the collision, which, you know, can sometimes be collateral damage effectively. So I can understand it is sometimes tougher down the back, but obviously, you know, the fact is we are in the series for the rFactor 2 community, the best sim racers in the world right here. So, you know, it's a given that, you know, there's only so many that can stay with the pace of the front runners, which at the moment is Kevin Siggy and Yovsky, both on the 121.6, which is incredibly fast here.
Yeah, but good to see that it's not a full Roman Grosjean Esports, not because I have anything against them, but I think it's good to see more teams in the top 5. I mean, we've got Redline there, we've got Sancho there, we got Waveframe Esports with Lorenzo Arisi in 5th currently. So if it stays like that, I think that should be a very, very good mix. Michi Hoyer, our inaugural champion from the Challenger Series of Season 1, crossing the line, not really improving a lot, while Nikolai Wisniewski is now up to 6th. Kevin Siggy on another run, and that's another purple second sector for him. Let's see if he actually improves his time once again. No, he doesn't. That was very, very close, but he still is on pole anyway. But we see that Erhan Yayosku is also on the track, and not purple, but green at least in the second sector. Let's see if he can grab pole position off Kevin Siggy. No, he can't. So,
somebody that has improved is Lorenzo Arisi. Look at that, up into 5th place. That is a great qualifying lap for him.
Yeah, especially since he has Yuri Kastop right behind him. And Yuri Kastop had some really, really strong races lately. I think he kind of missed the proper results to it. Because I think there were 2 races now where he was up the front and then ended his raid prematurely, which was very unfortunate for him. But he definitely has the speed to be within the top 3. He proved that time and time again. Same for Yunus Raivio, by the way, the new Sancho driver. Last season, still Evolution Motorsport, still in 3rd.
Do you think Hani Al-Sabti is edging his bets once again to be on pole for the main race?
It kind of seems...
He's like, I'm in 10th, I'm in a good spot, this is where I'm going to stay.
It seems like Hani Al-Sabti's strategy lately. I mean, if we look at the results, yeah, he won the last 2 main races. He also won Sebring main race, while he wasn't with us in Portland. So he dropped 1 race automatically, which was Portland. And he still has very, very strong results. While in sprint race, he scored 5, 7, and 7. So sprint races, he rarely ever gets inside the top 5. Rather stays closer to the pole position and then grabs those points in the main race. So let's see if that is another race where this happens.
So for me, that just tells me he's not as quick as these guys in a hot lap, which is, fine in a straight up hot lap shootout, because that's what we're effectively in. Yeah, he's got the racecraft to do it, and obviously we saw him in some magnificent overtaking battle. It was it Castor that he was clashing with? I can't think who it was.
Last race.
It was one of the other Roman Grosjean drivers. Yeah, they were exchanging position effectively all the way up until was it the last corner or the second from last corner where they had that small collision, and through they went. So obviously he's clearly got the racecraft. He's just not quite got the speed in the hot laps. But it is the BMW on the front, Kevin Siggy from Team Redline.
Yeah, great showcase once again here from the only BMW driver. Erhan Yayovsky, the championship leader, in 2nd. Yunus Raivio in 3rd. Risto Cap at 4th. And then Jan van der Heide in 5th. So that means 2 Romain Grosjean, 2 Sancho cars in the top 5. So that is something new. Yuri Kastop only in 7th. And then the first burst car with Journey Simoncic, surprisingly, I have to say, only in 10th. I was expecting them to do a bit better. Wisniewski and Brzezinski, Williams Esports, and then the Williams-supported Marder Racing team in 9th. So it's basically teammates starting next to each other.
I believe that's Arise's highest qualifying as well. That's a cracking performance.
6th.
He has improved all the way through.
Let me check if that is actually the case.
Now Sabti in 11th, obviously looking towards the main race for that 10th spot. Dennis Jordan, Alex Siebel, 12th and 13th. They're also 2 drivers of Evolution Motorsports that have done very well over the time. Peter Brilliant from Williams Esports just behind him. Matteo Pev in the Porsche in 15th place, fighting for his championship life. See if he can stay in that GT Pro Series 2 races to match that. Michi Hoyer, of course, also looking for some points for Burst Esports. Nuno Pinto, AAA, also struggling for the points as well. Daniel Canestracci down there from Wave Frame Esports. And, of course, Chiara as well in the Porsche in 19th spot. And Arnie Schoenflett, the man that would ordinarily be driving a Porsche if he were in last season, he's in the Corvette, and he's down in 20th.
Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't look that good for the Ferrari drivers. 22nd for Martin Durlan from John Alesi Esports, right behind Jimmy Nisula. And then the next Ferrari would be Sedlacek and Polesny, 28th, 29th. And Nico Barkley, 1 ACO, unfortunately only in 30th. Same for Porsche Milan, 23rd. I mean, Nico Barkley is still okay in terms of points, if I see that correctly. No, Nico Barkley is in 23rd right now. So he would be within relegation if it stays like that, but he's also not too far away from dropping into a direct dropout spot. If Robin Panzer, for example, does a lot better in Cito Vaya. So Cito Vaya only 25th, Robin Panzer in 26th. So yeah, down there will be a ton of fights, actually. Quick look at Sancho, one of the teams that brought 3 drivers into the GT Pro Series for this season. Obviously an outfit that everyone out there should know in the world of rFactor 2. There a ton of events lately had great results. I'll really have to get to them. They do a lot of work and they're really getting the pace out of that. So I'm pretty sure that Sancho is one of the teams to look at in basically overall, rightly, for the entirety of this season and next season.
Absolutely, and they're qualified obviously for in 3rd and 5th position was Yunus Raivio and Jan van der Heide. And that has not gone well for the warm-up lap. I'm going to tell you that for a fact. They need to just sort themselves out. Hopefully that can get sorted out. We don't need a restart because someone's just had a collision in the warm-up. That's what you love to see. Anyway, you can see the grid, as we were talking about. Jan van Heide in 5th position in the Zancho. Arisi, best qualifying so far from Wave 3 Esports in 6th place. Fantastic performance for him. Jakub Brzezinski, 9th place in the Marla. Yuni Simicic in 10th. We know he's got the racecraft. Can he put a challenge on Al Sabti in 11th?
And then Siebel, Björlak in 13th, 14th, Payapev 15th, and Michi Hoyer in 16th. Further down, Nuno Pinto, we talked about him. He's in 17th for AAA Esports. Kanistrachi in 18th. Shara in 19th, the second BPM car. And then Arne Schonflet 20th. Before we get over to Jimmy Nisula, Mart Dillon, Borja Milan, and Ferry Stanley in 24th.
Okay, everybody back in position. This is good. They're all ready to go. Further down the grid, these are the people that are really looking to try and improve their position. Zito Vai in the Zanshow, Robin Panzer, of course, in that relegation drop in 26th, Kevin Rotting in 27th. These guys all need points. And of course, the two Ferraris in 28th and 29th, with Nico Barkley bringing up the rear in 30th position. They're on the warm-up. They are ready to go. Kevin Siggy in the BMW will be leading the pack. He has been the man defending all the way for the last couple of races. Now, of course, he's doing it from the front, Rene.
Yeah, that will be very interesting because we know how good he is in defending his spot. He showed that in the previous races when the Corvette was just a bit stronger than the BMW, but this is, I think, the first time that he can actually lead the group. So if he gets that into turn 1 and stays on leading position, then it will be very hard for Yoski Arabia to make any move around him. But we also know there's a long backstretch, there's the long run to turn 1, which obviously gives you a lot of opportunities in terms of slipstreaming. But that will be interesting, so let's see what happens in the sprint race, which is only 15 minutes long before we head into the main race. And it will be Kevin Siggy opening up round 5 of the rFactor 2 GT Pro Series, and we hope that everyone gets through turn 1. The race is open. We see one of the Burst Esports Corvettes already going very wide to the outside, trying to stay close to that wall into turn 1. It is still Kevin Siggy leading. There's a Sancho. That's Jonas Raivio on the inside here against Jagoski, and seems like Raivio might come out on top and be second position right from the get-go. No, it is Jagoski having the upper hand, but only for one corner. Look at that. Jonas is through, and also his teammate right behind that. Yeah,
nice little start from him. Van der Heide, unfortunately, sticking down in 5th place, and you can see that Roman Grosjean, Esports drivers, 3rd, 4th, 6th. Now Al Sabti up into 10th as well as he passes Yuni Simicic, who actually just dropped 2 positions. Now you can see Dennis Jordan also getting through on his position.
6 wide in the background around Al Sabti and Payopev there, and that was the Sancho car just being spun around. Not quite sure what happened there. Was that Cedar? Oh, that's very unfortunate for him. Also, Payopev got hit. He's down to 13th once again. That's the car on the right now. While we're on board with Joni Simoncic on the outside here. Siebel and Jordan right in front of him. First time that they hit the short stretch, and then once again, heavy braking zone. Both Burst Esports cars connect real quickly, but nothing happened.
No, it is Sergey still in the lead, and he's already got himself a decent lead at that. A second gap between him and Jonas Raivio, and this is what we wanted to see from Kevin Siggy. We've obviously had the BOP changes, and you can see Siggy is loving it. He's got himself a lead. We'll see whether he can maintain it through the sprint race, because this is his time to shine. We know what he can do. He was the challenger throughout the season on Yoyovsky last season, and it's just been high time that he finally gets it between him. He's the only man that's stuck with the BMW as well, and it's finally paying off.
Yeah, I mean, the BMW didn't got any no BOP changes this time. It got in the first BOP round, which was after race 2, but there was no changes after race 4. Although Kevin Siggy is really strong here at Indianapolis, it seems. Will be interesting to see if the car is capable of delivering that performance the entire time once we head into that main race, because we know that the Corvette is pretty easy on tires. But so far, that is a 1.1 second gap already, while we see Jimmy Nisula also without a rear wing in the pits. So Kanistraci is out already. Peter Björlak is out. Both Polesny also in the pits. So basically 5 drivers with issues in lap number 1. See if we get a replay to that. That is Jimmy Nusula. That should be Shara right in front of him, in Martin Doolan to the left. See what happened here, trying to close that gap. That's the first. Oh, look at it. However, oh, that was Peter Björlak and Kanistraci right in front of him. And then Nusula had nowhere to go. All of a sudden, there was this accident right in front of him and crashed into it.
Yeah, at the moment, Ravio with Yayovsky up behind him after that great start. Oh, cheeky little move there. That's a nice little push. Can he manage to make it work and try and sneak on through? This is way down with that's Ciara, right? That's up behind him. That's trying to sneak on through.
That's Nuno Pinto.
Is that Nuno?
That's Nuno Pinto in the AAA car.
No,
yeah. The other one should be Arne Schönflit, and then behind that should be speaking of Shara, that's 16, 17, 18th.
You're confusing me. I said it was Shara. Like, no, it's Nuno Pinto. I'm like, no, it's Shara in the.
Oh, sorry. I thought we were talking about the Corvette that was doing the maneuver. Sorry, man.
I may have been busy, but I'm not that busy to spot the difference between a Porsche and a Corvette. Come on, give me some credit here.
I heard people having issues with that earlier, man. I heard a lot of stuff about cars. So let's see. That is a quite a heated up battle now with Martin Doolan. I said the Ferrari is minus 5 kilograms after the BOP. Look at that, how he tries to close the gap under braking to Shara and challenge the Porsche into the corner. That didn't work out this time. Arne Schönflit, he was the winner of that fight because he's still in 17th, and Nuno Pinto finally gets away from that group, and he really needs that because he has to score more points if he wants to stay within the GT Pro Series. Up front, it's still Kevin Siggy, then Jonas Ravio, Yayovsky, Capit, and then Jan van der Heide for the top 5.
Payopev and Michi Hoyer trying to go for it once again. Michi Hoyer just about hanging on, it looks like, as Payopev will not be able to get through. Tried it down the main straight there, but just unable to squeeze his way through. But he's definitely looking for an opportunity.
Yeah, I think Hoyer actually got that position of Payopev. I thought he was.
Yeah,
no, he wasn't.
Pev
13th.
took it, and then Hoyer got back. Yep.
Right. I was just quickly checking if they changed. Look at that on the outside once again, but Michi Hoyer really defending, tries to make his Corvette even wider than it is, and there's his teammate Simic right behind him. So Payopev in this Spurs Esports sandwich right now. That's not an easy task.
Simic? He's down in 15th. He started in 10th, if I'm not mistaken, or 11th. So he's had a really bad start. There's no doubt about it. Let's have a look at the replay here. This is Robin Pansar. This is obviously, we saw the sideways, and this is what I was talking about. Like, if you are down the back sometimes, it could not be your fault. You may just get collected in collateral. There's tires everywhere, and unfortunately sometimes it's just not your fault and things happen.
This is Simic versus Hoyer. Hoyer, of course, in the Corvette, not in the Porsche. That small mistake with overlays right now. Let's see, they can use the slipstream here to close the gap to Payopev in front of them.
Who did a great job to get past, by the way, during that replay.
Yeah, it seems like that because he's back to 13th, but there's also a big gap now to Dennis Jordan and Alex Siebel, both of the Evolution Motorsport drivers that are right in front of them, as they now have roughly nearly 2 seconds between them and the rest. Who's that Sancho car that was in there? Was that the replay? That's Payopev, and that is Michi Hoyer running wide, under braking, not making the turn, and then the Porsche driver said thank you and just went through.
Yeah, I think Simic should be quite annoyed that he didn't manage to sneak on through. Here's Al Sabti with, my word, some pressure behind him. That is Nikodem Wisniewski and Jordan just behind him. Alex Siebel trailing behind there as well. The two Evolution Esports drivers certainly looking to try and get involved as they move into the back straight.
Absolutely love that race right now. There's a ton of action everywhere, but it won't be easy for Nikodem Wisniewski because it will be hard for him to get by Hani Al-Sabti because Hani is also a very good defending driver, but you can nearly say that about everyone in this grid. But Dennis Jordan, like Siebel lately, they had great races. They know how to create an opportunity for a move. And if they can get close enough now to Nikodem Wisniewski, who can't move forward, basically, although he's trying, at least showing himself in the rearview mirror of Hani Al-Sabti. Hani running a bit wide there, so the Williams driver will close that gap, and now everyone gets involved. Not enough yet to really start an attack.
Michihaya through again on Pev. Simičić almost snuck through at the same time as well. So Michihaya retaking that position. They've been trading back and forward. It's almost when they obviously go down that big back straight, it's such a huge overtaking position when you get that drag. And obviously it's been working out for them. And now it's back to Pev to try and retake and get back in that 13th position.
Now, won't work this time. Maybe when they get back to the oval part of the Indianapolis GP. This is obviously the 2014 layout of the track, because I saw that someone was asking in the chat. That is Erhan Yayovski versus Jonas Raivio, and that was the rear view of Jonas. They're now very, very close to Kevin Siggy again. It's down to half a second. So it seems like either Kevin Siggy did a small mistake, or the pace is falling off on that car. In terms of lap times, it looks good, so not a huge difference, although the car became 0.4 seconds slower in the last 2 laps. Let's see if we will see the first attacks near to the end of the sprint race here against Kevin Siggy.
Yeah, at the moment it's obviously position station, as I say that. Pev goes through on Michihaya, and he's back into 13th position. This looks like it's something that may keep on going every lap. We've got 6 minutes remaining for them to trade blows once again. So okay, let's do the math, right? A minute 20 something per lap, so maybe 5 laps. Who's going to be in front at the end, Rene?
I would give it to the Corvettes, because I think they work a bit better over time. Always see Michihaya once again showing the Corvette in the rearview mirror of the Porsche, but not enough yet. I'm also interested to see if his teammate Simičić will actually just stay back or be a bit more aggressive and trying to get involved there as well. While we see that Kevin Siggy's gap is non-existing anymore, down to 0.3 of a second. But we also know, as every single time with the Pro Series, if Jonas Raivio wants to make an attack, there will be an Erhan Yayovski right behind him and trying to grab that position of Jonas, maybe failing his first attack. So Jonas really has to make sure that if he goes for the lead, it needs to work on the very first move.
Absolutely, we can see him once again. This is little Raivio having a little peek at Siggy, just trying to force the defensive errors. This is right back at the start though. Look at this, Pev. Let's see what he does. That's the Evolution Motorsports drivers just ahead of him, of Alex Siebel and Dennis Jordan. Oh, sneaky late braking, my word. I mean, he ran wide, which will obviously give Dennis Jordan a chance to bite back, but that worked well for him. So that's Simičić ahead, by the way. So I wonder what happened to force him to go down to 15th position, because obviously he had a reasonable start there.
Definitely, there must be something that happened to Simičić. Normally he doesn't drop that much. While we see that Wisniewski once again couldn't attack Hani Al-Sabti, but now it's in a lot of pressure by Dennis Jordan and Alex Siebel. So it will be interesting to see for the future. But this is probably the big fight that we're waiting for here in the very last minutes of the sprint race. Siggy, Raivio, and Yayovski, the top 3. And normally, Kevin Siggy would be busy by now, defending. That's what we saw in the previous races. But so far, there wasn't really an attack at all yet. But the moment will come, because these guys are just waiting for it.
Absolutely. This is normally when it hots up, obviously with just 4 minutes remaining. This is where they have to make the move. Remember, that top 10 position currently held by Nikitin Wisniewski will be starting out in pole position. You can be sure that the Evolution Motorsports guys behind him will certainly want to take it. Let's have a look at the replay here. This is Jonas Simičić. So this is what happened to him. Obviously, he was leading. He was down in, I think it was 11th, 10th place, running pretty well at the start. I've got to assume it's okay. So he took a bit of a heavy bump there. Yeah, and that's what put them all past him. And look at that. They're just feeding like sharks, picking off his position. Comes into there. He's got Pev on the right of him. That's Michihaya, and I did just see a small connection there as well, so that's what put him down. And oh no, what has happened to Kevin Siggy as he had the double downshift?
Yeah, very unfortunately for the BMW driver. He wasn't leading, all of a sudden he's DNF, and I think that was engine blowing. That would be very unfortunate. That means the fight is on between Raivio and Yayovski. Yayovski, the championship leader, Raivio being in 6th right now. So Jonas wants to score a few more points. The bigger his paycheck will be at the end of the season. So they will definitely not go easy at each other. Let's see what happened to Kevin Siggy. So down the middle sector, then it's basically breaking into second gear for some of them. And then probably the car just rolled out. Yep, that's it. Done and dusted for him. Very, very unfortunate. Kevin Siggy with such a good performance here on the BMW GT3. Now the only GT3 and the only BMW entry is gone. Though Wisniewski still able to hold on to his 9th position in front of Dennis Jordan. Alex Siebel. Currently it would be Dennis Jordan who would start on pole in the main race. Hani El-Sabti on 8th, but there's no one around him. But now it's Yayovsky showing himself for the very first time. So Jonas Raivio knows that Yayovsky wants to make a move. Still 1 minute 50, so probably 2 laps still for these guys. And that gives, I would say, 4 to 5 moments for Yayovsky to make a move.
It's like a shark hunting, isn't he? Wants that sprint finish. He's had it, God, so many times throughout this season. I can tell you exactly, he's won 3 of them back to back to back. Sebring was the only place he did not get first position in the sprint race, and he got second in that one. So yeah, he wants that first position, there's no doubt about it. He's got a minute left. This is his moment. It's now or never for him. Let's see if he can manage to make it work, Renee.
And they will not start another lap. That's the interesting bit, right? Because they just crossed the line. It was 1:11 on the clock, so that will not be enough. But they're now side by side. Yayovsky on the inside of Jonas Raivio. Can the Sentra driver actually hold on to lead? He can for now, but Yayovsky tries the undercut. Doesn't work once again. Raivio quickly in the dirt there, but he keeps it stable. He keeps it under control. He can slot in front of Yayovsky once again. Small touch from the back there, unsettling the car, but it seems the Sancho car will remain in the lead for now.
Just about, but he got a bit bumpy there, didn't he? Is that enough to get the drive out? I think it might be for Yayovsky as they go down the straight. He came out just a little too bumpy. He's going to be on the outside. Raffio on the inside, and he's just about made enough to get around. He's going to be on the inside here. He should be able to make it stick, but Raffio holds strong. Has he got enough left standing? Yayovsky once again through the inside will make it work, and it looks like he's going to take it with just 12 seconds left. We're going to go over the line. It will be the finish of the race, and Yayovsky, what a maneuver to make that work.
Definitely, what a fight they just had, and kudos to both drivers that they're still on track, because that was a hard one. And Risto Capit now joined these, but there shouldn't be, there might be one other opportunity for Jonas Raivio to make a move. Let's see if that is enough. No, it won't be enough. Not getting enough slipstream. So will be Yayovsky taking the sprint race win in front of Jonas Raivio, Risto Capit, and then Jan von der Heide in 4th, Yuri Kastorp in 5th, and Lorenzo Risi, Brzezinski, El-Sabti, Wisniewski, and Dennis Jordan to end the top 10.
So Jordan's going to be starting out. That's going to split the Evolution Motorsports, of course. He will be starting out on pole position in the main race, but what a challenge between these two. Just about as clean as you can make it, I think, with the amount of corners that they went through. Really nice drive from both drivers.
Yeah, side by side, a lot of respect between these drivers, making that possible and giving us such a good look at the action here. I love that. It was a bit bumpy here and there because obviously everyone tries to push, and sometimes we saw that Yayovsky was quickly tapping the rear bumper of Raivio, but other than that, it looked absolutely clean.
I didn't notice Capit trying to sneak through as well. He was going that hard that he actually ran wide on Raivio. He was desperately trying to get the drag out of there. So respect to Risto Capit to trying to make it work. Jan von der Heide, by the way, also up in 4th, obviously, because Kevin Siggy went out. So great finish for both Sancho drivers, really 2nd and 4th, obviously improving their position. Yuri Kastorp in 5th place. Lorenzo Risi finishing in 6th place where he started. So great drive from him. Jakub Brzezinski as well in the Mala in 7th. Hani El-Sabti in 8th. Now, can he convert? He's going to be starting in 3rd position. Remember, he's won the last 2 races he drove in the main race. Nikolai Wisniewski for Williams Esports in 9th, and Dennis Jordan in 10th place will make him start on pole as we move into the main race.
Yeah, the main race will be an absolute great thing to watch. I mean, look at how many overtaking we saw in the sprint race. And now we get that for 45 minutes with reverse top 10. That will be a real show.
Yeah, it's definitely going to turn things up. I mean, it's great to see Pev up there in 13th as well. Obviously, you know, the Porsche with Shara in 16th as well. They know they've got a lot of work to do to keep in the championships for next season. So it's great to see them scoring high in certainly the sprint race. Nuno Pinto as well, by the way, in 15th there, and Ferry Stanley in 17th. All these guys that were obviously down and struggling for points, starting to score here. I wonder how that's going to shake up in the championships and whether they can continue that as we move into the main race.
Fortunately, that is another 0 for Zido Vaya, who had a DNF. And he's listed with 9 laps, but there was a DNF. Same for Borja Milan. So there are 2 drivers in the last 5, which means these drivers probably drop out of Pro Series. Nuno Pinto, he was able to score a few more points because he's last currently in the championship. That's good for him. Robin Pansar, 21st. Okay, because he's listed at 26th in the championship. So also some points for him to make it further up the grid. And maybe at least make it into the relegation, even though if he can't stay in Pro directly.
Yeah, so obviously the main part is in the sprint, it only goes down to 1 point for 15th. In the main race, obviously that's where they're going to make the most points, which is why all the positions will count. The Porsches of Butler Powell we have on your screens here, they are in a position to score, well, let's put it that way, and it's points that they need. They are currently, as you mentioned, not in a great position. 472 for Pev. So any points here would be able to maybe launch him out of their shower on 481 as well. So, you know, if they can score highly, bearing in mind the current position they're running in, I believe it gives them 15 points, if I'm not mistaken, for 15th place. So that's definitely going to put them right up there. You don't want to be down in the lower figures. They want to get as many as they can to risk not being there in Spa, which is obviously where we head to next.
Yeah, it is. Every single point count now. We only got we're race 5. We only got 1 more race left, so not many opportunities to really score.
For the start of this race, I need you to be
getting
a bit
into
more
the main
close,
session. 45-minute race, and you see partial cloudy, 35% chance of rain. We had rain in Virginia, Lee, right? Which was a real game changer. So I wonder, will we see it in Indianapolis as well? So, did you look up the horizon yet?
We only had a 5% chance, I feel, when we were in was it Portland? Was it we had the rain?
I think we had Virginia.
It was Virginia. Yes, you're right. Yeah. Portland was the short race. Virginia, definitely in Virginia, and that really shook things up. 35% chance of precipitation. That's pretty high, in all fairness. And you can see on the background. There's clouds there. There's no doubt about it. So we'll see whether we get it. We'll see whether anyone's set up for it. It was Yuni Simicic actually that stepped things up when the rain came down. He was the one that delivered and delivered a fantastic drive. He'll be praying for it at this stage, obviously way down the grid this time around as opposed to last race. So real big chance for maybe him and maybe the rain to come. It certainly will liven things up. There's no doubt there's plenty of overtaking opportunities, obviously, in turn 1 and turn 7, where we're seeing most of the action happening. But when the rain comes down, that could open up opportunities everywhere.
Definitely. Indianapolis proves that it is a track where you can have good racing action. I still like it. I mean, it's not in F1 anymore, right? And it's sometimes I kind of feel people forget about the road course opportunities at Indianapolis. I like it due to the flow that you have in all these high-speed, mid-speed corners. There's just a lot of side-by-side action. We saw that with Jonas Raivio against Nojovski. That was great, right? Seeing them going side-by-side through multiple corners. So I think it's worth for the track to be here in the GT Pro Series. Since I just read that in the chat, someone saying this track needs a PBR update and new materials. It actually gets an update. Indianapolis will get an update in rFactor 2. I think we're rolling it out quite soon, maybe next week already. I'm probably now saying too much, and then Marcel will rip my head off.
Under the bus.
So, Dennis Jordan, 9th in the championship, now the leading car in the main race. Nico Nosnaski from Williams in 2nd, Haniel Sapti in 3rd, and Jakub Brzezinski in 4th.
Yeah, Lorenzo Risi starting out at 5th place. Fantastic for him in the main race. Yuri Kastorp, 6th position. Jan van der Heide for the Zand Show down in 7th. Risto Capit in 8th. And then Yunus Ravio is going to be kicking himself for losing the sprint race in the final lap in the Zand Show. And Yayovsky, of course, in 10th place with those 20 points in the bag already. Looking great for his championship hopes.
Payapath, Michi Hoyer, so they can continue the fight from the previous race. Nuno Pinto in 15th and Zbigniew Szara in 16th. Obviously, all the other positions are down to where they finished. In main first, then the 17th, Martin Durland, Sedlacek, and then Kevin Rotting, the second AAA driver.
Obviously, as we move further down the field, we're looking to maybe some drivers that had some issues. There was an accident, if you remember, at the start of the sprint race. They're going to be looking to avoid that action. And, of course, I'm looking towards Kevin Siggy in 26th. After blowing his engine from the lead, he is going to be looking and seething, trying to make up his error there to try and get himself back in some serious points. So keep your eyes on that BMW flying through the pack.
Yeah, I really vote for Kevin Siggy picture-in-picture cam right now, because I think he will actually go through that field like a ninja. He is quick. He can be in the top 3 or even race winner on Indianapolis with his car. So it'll be very interesting. It will be very interesting to see how much he can do in these 45 minutes. But it will be Dennis Jordan for now that will decide how the start will go, and actually if he can do the same as Kevin Siggy, because Siggy was capable of staying in first when opening the race. So let's see if Dennis Jordan can do the same. While production gave us that Kevin Siggy picture-in-picture. I absolutely love that. Look at that. He has the that must be so frustrating. He was on pole in the sprint race, and now he has the entirety of the GT Pro grid right in front of him. So yeah, that's quite a huge difference, and let's see if he can do anything against that. But Dennis Jordan, he should open the race now. We are right on his roof, looking at Nikita Wisniewski and Haniel Sapti, and off we go. Great start for Dennis Jordan. We see Wisniewski already slotting in behind him. Haniel Sapti still in 3rd. Jakub Brzezinski in 4th. We see a Wayframe Esports car on the inside. Let's see if he can actually do something.
They're about 4 or 5, maybe 6 wide coming into this first corner. They're all going to have to group up and pack up. And you can see from Kevin Siggy's point of view, he's just trying to make sure he avoids any contact as he squeezes on through. But look at that. That is, I believe, Yuri Kastorp and Risto Capit squeezing through on Lorenzo Arisi up into 6th position. Dennis Jordan hangs on strong as they all go flying over the curbs.
Yeah, Dennis Jordan once again with a great start for him. Someone was very right. Is that Ferris Stanley on the left?
Someone in front of Siggy. Someone in front of Siggy went shooting off there. A couple of people. So Siggy does manage to get through to 21st, but it looked like there was contact. And my God, they're so wide down there. They're still about 3 or 4 deep going into the corners.
Yeah, it's very messy right now with everyone trying to make moves early on, because now everyone is still close. You can win 1 or 2 positions in one go. Sometimes also lose these positions, so it will be hard as well. But it looks like Kevin Siggy is in 26th. 21st. So he has 21st. Oh, yeah.
21st.
Oh, yeah, the lap didn't update for me yet. So he's in 21st. And then Kevin Rotting and Arne Schonflit right in front of him. Martin Durland then for John Alesi Esports in the Ferrari. So all of these cars he still has to overcome. Szara in 16th, that we see in the battle box, with Nuno Pinto leading this group on 15th right now. Another driver that really has to score, and he has Payapath, the second Porsche, right in front of him. That's the group we see in between there. Oh, that is Siebel trying to make a move here against Payapath, and it seems like Siebel will have the upper hand around the outside with a Corvette. Great move.
Yeah, now can Payapath trying to get past, I believe it says that Szara ahead of him there as he's trying to squeeze on through. Pinto having a little nudge there as well, but not quite working out for him. Lorenzo Risi, unfortunately, down to 7th place. He had a 5th place start, so it's not gone great for him at the start. He has got Brzezinski past him, and obviously Risto Capit we saw go through. Here is Al Sabti and Kastorp on your screen.
Isn't that the same position? Fight?
And Hani Al Sabti in 3rd place. Remember, this is the man that's won the last 2 main races. And as you say, that I believe was the battle for position of 1st and 2nd in the previous race.
Yeah, that's great to see these two going at each other again. And we know that they really fight. No team orders between them, it seems. Let's see who comes out on top there. Dennis Jordan currently with half a second gap for him, a bit more to Wisniewski, and we're on board with, that should be Yunus Raivio, isn't it?
Yep.
Because that's Roman Grozovka in front of him. Yeah, Michihaya should be on his rear, running a bit wide there. I think he lost a bit of slipstream, but Michihaya also not coming closer here on the long stretch down into turn 1, and see them heartbreaking once again. Kastrup and Alsapti. Well, Alsapti stays in 3rd, and this is Kevin Siggy already up to 19th. If he makes it around the outside, the next corner should favor him once again, and if he can close that in front of the Ferrari, no he can't. Sedlacek fighting back, and with that the Ferrari for now...
too wide,
Yep.
yeah.
I want to say he stays there, but no, they have made
small
huge contact.
Small. I was going with small. I was being kind. I was being as much as they could. But you can see they're all going to be going through there. So that's a lot of people managing to pass on by. Peter Briliak going around the outside. Borja Milan just ahead as well. And that is a great
Nuno
move.
Pinto is in the green, by the way. That's the car you see on the right there. The AAA driver, coming back on the track, nearly throwing it away.
Was that Shara?
No, that was Nuno Pinto, where you saw Shara.
Oh, no, you're right. It's
Shara
Alex
is still in
Siebel.
14th, Payopaf in 13th, so both Porsches still in. But we see Martin Durlett making a move on Arne Schonflid, and he is through. Yep, Martin Durlett now on 15th.
Didn't mean to panic you. I thought it was Shara, but it wasn't. Kevin Siggy, though. Siggy Watch up to 17th position. What a great start from him. He's working his way through the pack. We knew he would do that, though. Oh, my word. Yeah, just getting collected. And we were talking about it. There were like too many wide going into the chicane. There's nothing you can do. There's almost certainly going to be contact at that stage. That is going to be Arne Schumflet, I believe, sending it past Martin Drillen there. So nice drive from him. Now Sabti and Kastorp at the front in 3rd and 4th, still continuing to battle, but it does look like that it's settled down a little bit now than the start. Ernie? That's PUBG Mobile squeezing in on me because I've been reporting on someone called Ernie. Erhan Yayovsky is the one I was after, or to me, I call him Ernie. Is in 10th place, by the way, hasn't made any ground yet, but we are already 5 minutes into the race.
Yeah, but there's still plenty of time, and there's nearly 40 minutes now for them. But Nico Barkley, Robin Panzer, that are the Corvettes that we saw crashing in the chicane.
That's sending it. That's way too late braking. Nuno Pinto.
Yeah, I think he missed the memo there that there was a breaking point, and that was far beyond point of no return, basically. Crashing into one of the Evolution Motorsport drivers. But what I wanted to say is Robin Panzer and Nico Barkley both are listed as DNF already, which means that's another 0 for both drivers, and both fighting to stay within the GT Pro Series. So not looking good for them here in Indianapolis, while we see Haniel Sapti and Yuri Kastrup still trying to slip.
Keep your eye on the back. Keep your eye on the back.
Can they actually come closer to Nikodem Wisniewski? Can they close the gap?
Siggy Watch as he moves in on Martin Dillon. Actually, he's not going to go for it this time. Chose to duck inside. But yeah, Al Sabti and Yuri Kastrup continuing on. Let's have a look at the replay. This is Kevin Rotting. Oh no, we're going to see him send it, boys. We're going to see him send it and fail to brake.
No, that was Nuno Pinto.
That was Nuno Pinto.
Yeah, that was his teammate.
AAA Esports, yeah.
That's Sedlacek against Siggy. Look at how Siggy played that so brutal. It's like he was calm, waited for Sedlacek to move to the other side, and then just duck underneath with his BMW. But there was a small touch at the end.
Yeah, and he had to brake because obviously he couldn't make contact with the Ferrari, and because he had to brake, he lost 2 places because of that, of what happened in front of him. So simply, and nothing he could do about that one. Shara with Arne Schumflet hot on its heels. Schumflet right now thinking, oh, I wish I was in a Porsche. I did that last season, right?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Highly doubt that anyone is wishing to be in a Porsche. But interesting, this group will now face Kevin Siggy because that is the red line BMW right behind them. Let's see if he can make the moves quicker than Martin Dillard and Arne Schönflip, because we saw Martin and Arne fighting before. They went back and forth for 2 laps now, changing positions.
Risto Capri on your screens trying to get past Brzezinski, and that is clean. He's run a little bit wide, which may give Brzezinski a small chance to get himself back in, but it looks like it's held on, and that means we have 3rd, 4th, and 5th held by Roman Grosjean Esports.
Now, once again, Ajira Racing with Arne Schönflip made it through. Speaking of Shara, it's up to 14th now. there's also a big gap in front of them already, and in front that should be Payo Pav with the other Porsche. He's trying to chase down Michi Hoyer, who made it past because you know that they have been fighting in sprint race as well. That's now Martin Durland on the outside of the Porsche, can actually go around the outside. Small touches between the Porsche and the Ferrari, both running a bit wide. Kevin Siggy seeing his chance, trying to move in. That was a touch by Durland, and I think that was Siggy trying to avoid getting spun or anything that will cost him more points.
I think he saw them about to make contact and basically get wrapped up in it, so nice of him to just avoid it. That was just the small knock. I mean, that was simply a racing incident, one turning in a little too soon onto the chicane, trying to get as much as he can from that, so didn't work out for him. But as you say, Siggy, good work from him to just notice the small contact between the two drivers and try and avoid it and mitigate. I mean, if he'd have stuck to it, it would have worked out for him. He would have got past, but he also didn't want to get collected in the same time. Look at this, the battle for third. Al Sabti and Kastor continuing to challenge one another.
It's great how close these guys can stick to each other, no matter what dirty air whatsoever. Siggy is now once again side by side with Martin Durland, but he gets sent into the grass, flashing his lights angrily in the background there. And now Peter Björk and Borja Balan are both back onto Kevin Siggy, who lost a lot of time there. Now won't have another go at Martin Durland anytime soon. Alsapti and Kastop still chasing. Are they closing the gap? Nikodem Wisniewski is currently in second. He has 1.1 seconds to Dennis Jordan. And then it's another 3 there. Basically 3.5 to Alsapti and Kastorp. That's 3 Romain Grosjean Esports drivers hunting down Jordan Wisniewski.
There's a very interesting Zancho sandwich down in 9th, 10th and 11th. Erhan Yayovsky sandwiched between, and he's on the back, in fairness, of Jan van der Heide, who's obviously on the back of Simicic, but Jonas Ravio is also trying to slip all over his rear wing, so they're all looking for the opportunities. They're all very much close to one another in a chance to maybe go for it. You can see, looks like Yayovsky's just a little adrift this time of Jan van der Heide, so I don't think he's going to have a chance. Van der Heide himself certainly looks like he may have a go at Simicic here as he just takes a look, not really in the position to try and send it through though.
We see in the background Schauer versus Durland. Schauer sending Durland to the outside. There might be a chance for cutting it in again. No, and Kevin Siggy is already involved. Let's go back to this group really quickly, and we see that Arne Schoenfeld also created a gap already, so it seems like Schauer is the slowest car in this group right now, basically bunching everyone behind him up together once again, playing into the cards of Kevin Siggy at least, but he wants to get past these two fighting as quick as possible. Durland now really close. Schauer trying to cover up the inside. The Ferrari could go around the outside. Maybe that works, but Porsche really late under braking. That worked well. Kevin Siggy is seeing his chance now on the outside of Durland. They both touch again, but no one got sent wide. That is very good. Seems like Kevin Siggy won't have a chance here to pass the John O'Lazy car just now.
Yeah, I think he's frustrated. I think it's safe to say he's frustrated. He sees these two battling, and there is literally no room to squeeze on through, because it does look like if he tries it, he's almost certainly going to get collected in some sort of contact. So I think Kevin Siggy's just a little frustrated he can't but get past. And more importantly, with Borja Malan hot on his rear, who's hunting for as many points as he can in this race, he can't afford to make a mistake here.
33 minutes still to go. It seems like it stayed dry so far. Very good for the drivers. That is Simicic.
Yeah, and that's Yayovsky and Jan van der Heide. But Simicic looks like he's going to try and make it work. He has. So Jan van der Heide trying a little move on Simicic, but Simicic has bit right back, but that's brought the pack right back. You can see the gap is forming between them. Lorenzo Risi in 7th place. There's a 2-second gap now down to Juni Simicic, who is starting to stack them up, and it does look like that Yayovsky's in trouble here. He's trying to go around the outside. Ravio should be out of sticking position, but he's going to hold steady, and that's all starting to back everybody up. You can see even Peo Pev getting involved just behind them.
Yeah, now we're back to the fight between Schauer, Durland, Siggy, Milan and Björk, because they're all back together now that Schauer is kind of holding them off as well. Let's see if Kevin Siggy finally gets his chance, but this looks like Martin Durland will have a chance. Oh, we see Don Butcher was good as well, but Schauer stayed up front, maybe went a bit too deep into that corner there. That gives another chance to the John O'Lazy driver. Did he did he bounce the back off the Porsche again and then got bounced by, a bit bumped by Kevin Siggy as
absolutely.
well? Everyone losing patience in that group.
When a car stops so quick in front of you, yeah, it's bumper to bumper, and they're all running so close, trying to find that smallest of slipstreams. Almost certainly there will be contact again. Dillon trying to dive up the outside, and that's giving Siggy a chance. And then, well, Dillon just dives straight back onto Siggy there. Nothing Siggy could do because he was actually in track position, and the Ferrari just slammed him straight out of the way.
And we saw that. I think it was Borja Milan going through. Yes, that is the one ACO driver who saw his chance, went through immediately, and now Kevin Siggy lost another position down to 18th. Won't be happy about that. I see that Durland and Shara are already side by side once again on the straight, and I think Durland is finally through. So, no, he isn't. There comes the bump again, mid-corner on the apex. Probably not enough space there for the John Alesi Ferrari. And then they make contact again, sending Shara down to 16th. Martin Dillon now on 15th because he wants to get away from Milan and Siggy because they're all pushing from the back.
Yovsky still holding station in 10th, unable to get past some. Siggy having another look there onto Borja Milan after losing that position. Let's have a look at this to see how it works. Okay, you can see this is the Ferrari of Dillon desperately trying to get past on Shara. Clear connection there this time around.
Yeah, I mean, Shara was trying to push Durland on the far inside, then he went back onto the ideal line, and obviously Durland's car was still there. Pretty sure that Durland would have made the corner nevertheless, so I just think that they both touched, and now it's Borja Milan really going for it. Where is that breaking point? Might it be on Laguna Seca or on any other US track, but definitely not on Indianapolis.
Yeah, that was way too hot. I thought, wow, he's making a great move. I thought, well, hang on a minute, there's no way he's going to stop here. Yeah, so clearly going through, and now Siggy back in position. So okay, so he's going to just give his position to the back up, and we're back at it. So he's obviously got Peter Briliac right up on his heels.
I was wondering if he was misjudging the corner at all. Like, did he think he was in a different sector, maybe? Because that was off
the track he goes. Off the track he goes. Yeah, he's flustered. So he's off. It looks like he's going to be a DNF now. It seems. Yes, the engine has gone on Borja Milan, and he will be out. So it's another 0 for one of the drivers that are obviously down there. This is where he's just.
Yeah, you see that. I think Shara just overlooked Durland on the inside there. He was expecting Durland to brake harder than him because he was far on the inside, but Durland did a really good job there. Got a great line, even though his entry was absolutely not ideal at all. But it worked out for him. Unfortunately, Borja Milan is out. Nuno Pinto is also out. So with Pansa and Barclay, these are the next drivers fighting to survive within the GT Pro Series, not scoring any points in the main race either. So we're very hard. That is Borja Milan. Is that his braking?
No chance.
He was lucky that Martin Dillon. Yeah, that Martin Dillon wasn't in his way there. It could have ended completely different.
Not quite sure what he was thinking there, just misreading his braking point completely. The red mist descended, I think, is probably the best way I can phrase that one. Siggy now trying onto Shara, and Sabti and Castorp continuing their battle in 3rd and 4th. Risto Capit holding a respectable 2 seconds behind them, just holding station effectively, while Simic continues to hold Jan van der Heide, Jajovski and Ravio, that little Zancho sandwich going on there between 9th and 11th.
Great work from Dennis Jordan that he's still in the lead, and we see it gets a lot darker now on the track. Look at that.
Yeah,
all the clouds that we saw in the distance before, they're half on the oval already. It looks a bit better here. They go to the right, so better drive in that direction. Looks a lot better. And I don't see any wipers on yet. So I really feel we will see rain. Well, Castorp now finally goes for the move on Sapti. Makes it work. Yuri Castorp up to 3rd.
For how long? Siggy almost certainly going to go for it here. Had a great drive out of the last corner. You can see should be able to make this one work. Shara really not able to defend that one. Oh, a little hot though for Siggy, but he should be fine. Should be able to hold position. Yes, he had a really good drive, a good drag on Shara coming into the first corner. And here's Castorp. This is Castorp going into 3rd place.
Yeah, I mean, these are still teammates, right? Like, they should make sure that these moves work. Nicely done by Kastrup. I mean, the breaking point worked super well for him. Great move there. But still, it's like any other overtaking. Like, the other person needs to play along. Otherwise, it ends in a huge mistake. And both cars could be off. But we see most drivers have their lights turned on already. It got a lot darker on the track. And I can see some of the spectators on the left, they already got their raincoats out. So is that the rain coming out to Indianapolis? 35% we had. And we know it can happen. It's all dynamic. So let's see who could be our rainmaster. Maybe at Indianapolis if it starts raining. And then if it actually brings us some big changes. Still, Dennis Jordan, 1 second advantage over Nikodem Wisniewski and then Kastorp and Al-Sabdi. So the Evolution Motorsport driver, great job so far at the front. There's yellow in turn 1, in sector 1. Not sure what happened there. Didn't saw any car going off yet. Also don't see anyone dropping. No, and the yellows are gone already. So probably just someone going over the grass there.
Yeah, it was Simoncic that we had to watch last time the rain came down. We'll see whether it stays the same. He's currently residing in 8th position, so still a long way for him to go to try and gain some ground. There is quite a gap behind him as well. And it's been quite a defensive position that Yayovsky, you know, what, 20 minutes gone in this main race, still unable to gain any ground, still sitting in that 10th place. Obviously, with Yunus Ravio down in 11th, there clearly was a couple of changes because Ravio would have started in 9th position, but overall, not able to gain any ground there. Shara still with... Ooh, that was a little bit slidey there from... I think, was that Michi Hoyer? No, it's not. That's even further down. That's not Michi Hoyer. Oh, we're looking at Simoncic again. Okay. Confusing his teammates. So we're back to Simoncic. So yeah, so Simoncic, as I was saying, 8th position, was great in the rain. You can see from that back rear view just how dark it's getting down there. Wow, he's going ultra defensive.
I was expecting Yayovsky to actually try, but Jan von der Heide was really, really close there, quickly bumping into Simicic's first Esports Corvette, and that is Peter Bjorlak passing. Speaking of Shara, maybe the Porsche driver can come back, not around the outside. That will be very hard. Nope, the Corvette stronger there on the exit, although the Porsche is great with exit traction. But that's Shara dropping another position. Now, he wasn't 15th before, 14th before, actually. And now dropping down all the way to 18th, right in front of Kevin Rotting, the second AAA driver. So his teammate Nuno Pinto is already out of the race. You can see that on the DNF list on the bottom left right now. And we got 24 minutes and still those clouds hanging over the track.
Yeah, still a great performance from Dennis Jordan, holding that lead in first place, the Evolution Motorsports driver. We haven't obviously talked a great deal about him because, frankly, there hasn't been a great deal of action at the front. It's all been down here. What we're looking at right now, this battle, that's, I believe, Yunus Ravio's bonnet we're staring at of the Zancho with Yayovsky just ahead of him. And then Jan von der Heide and, of course, Yuni Simoncic all trying to pull the drag as they wiggle and wave. Are they going to be able to send it through? It's Simoncic defending deep on the inside. Now it's going to be Van der Heide around the outside. He will be on the inside here. I think he's going to be able to make this one stick. Simoncic will have the inside drive, but look at Erhan Yayovsky looking to try and benefit from this one and force Van der Heide outside. So tight, but they will all hold station.
Yeah, quick contact there with the rear fender of Jan von der Heide from Yayovsky, but everyone kept it on track. Looking good, but this is a very aggressive group right now. Look at that. Every single time we go into the braking zone, everyone's just checking their position. Is there a chance somewhere to dive inside? But so far, it's still Simoncic, Van der Heide, Yayovsky, Ravio, and Michi Hoyer being all the way back. This is Ferry Stanley. In front is Kevin Rotting. And then, speaking of Shara, so 20th, 19th, 18th. And seems like Shara currently not really up to the pace of everyone else because he's dropping hard. Look at that gap between him and Peter Bjorlak. That's the car way up front that's now going on to the oval. So seems like the Porsche driver not as quick as the rest of the group around. And I see Vipers went on. I see some car. Yeah, the rain is here. Indianapolis turns into a rain race. So let's see if everyone is prepared for that. Dennis Jordan, I mean, he's at least leading, but that also means he's the first one testing out every single corner. How the rain is there, that could be a real game changer now.
Yeah, so let's see who the movers and shakers are, who obviously adjusted their car, maybe set it up perfectly for the dry, that may not be able to deliver in the wet. It could be such a testy time, especially with so many corners. So many times you're going to be clipping those big curbs and potential chances to find a slippery spot. Who knows? So obviously keep your eyes on this pack that is 8th down to 12th. Simičić, Von der Heide, Jojovski, Yunus Ravio and Michi Hoyer all close together. It was Simičić that was good in the wet before, but this is a very different track, Indianapolis. We'll see whether they can find the line.
Yeah, will be very interesting if also Dennis Jordan can now hold on to it. It's 1.2 seconds when the rain kicked in. Not heavy yet, so I should have everything under control by now, but this group is still going at it. And I wonder if the Porsche, which should be one of the cars, I think, that could be a bit quicker in the rain due to the draft hand layout, if Payopav is actually able to close that gap to Michi Hoyer, or if these guys just running away with it. Now we clearly see the raindrops here, so got a lot heftier with the rain. And Alex Siebel, teammate of Dennis Jordan, by the way, is last, 25th. He's fighting with Daniele Canestracci and Jimmy Nisula, although Jimmy Nisula is a bit further up ahead. But this group, they're not done yet. And Nikitin Wisniewski is yet to come closer to Dennis Jordan, so that might be a chance for Evolution Motorsport to pick up a first win in GT Pro, but for that they have to survive another 20 minutes.
It's certainly getting a little sleepy out there. You can tell they've backed down a little bit on the lap times as well, just to respect the rain that is coming. As I say that, Simičić actually has sped up his lap time, which is pretty impressive. So we'll see whether he can continue, because Von der Heide is all over his backside right now, continuing to keep the pressure on there. And obviously, this is the time where pressure can really deliver. And speaking of pressure, look at this. Jakub Brzezinski is caught right up on Risto Capit in 5th position. So maybe Risto just taking his eye off the prize a little bit, trying to be a little cautious perhaps.
Oh,
and
they went into the pits.
We're going for pit stops.
They're actually drivers considering changing tires. We talked about that before. Since the race isn't that long, we never saw a pit stop for someone changing tires. Virginia only had rain very shortly, but Brzezinski and who was the other car there? That is Brzezinski and Capit.
Yeah, Capit,
both
so they were 5th and 6th.
Both turned into the pits. Now everyone won a position, obviously. Payopav all of a sudden 11th, Michi Hoyer in 10th. But is it the right call for Brzezinski and Capit? Maybe. I mean, we saw that in real-life motorsport. There was a race years ago on the Nürburgring where we had a German replacement driver leading the race because he was the only one starting on rain tires. Well, everyone else crashed. I think it was
Arnie Schönfleth stopped as well, so he's also coming for tires as well. I mean, it could be that they're simply looking at the fastest lap. Who knows? I mean, maybe they could go for that, but oh, look at that. They're getting a little squirrely. This may be the right decision. I mean, it's really down to the rest of the grid, right? They'll all be looking to see how they do when they come out. If they start posting really quick times, we're going to see everybody diving in the pits.
Yeah, especially now that Schönfleth and Canestracci also went into the pits. So we have 4 cars by now on rain tires, while Jan von der Heide still tries to defend. Nikitin Wisniewski a lot quicker in the rain than Dennis Jordan, so he's down below a second now of the gap. So that might be the chance for Williams Esports to attack Evolution Motorsport for the lead of the race. I'm not quite sure. I mean, it takes a while for such a track to really be wet enough for rain tires, especially since you basically kill them once the line gets dried out again.
So up as well, I think.
Yeah, I wonder if it's wet enough for that, or if we will see a dry line emerging very, very soon. Then you don't want to be on those rain tires. But for now, it will be Mysterium, because Kevin Rotting also turned into pits. Daniel Canestracci is still in the pits. So the second AAA Esports driver is also going for rain tires. Now getting overtaken by Sido Vaya. That was the Sancho car on the track you saw to the right. And then it's Jimmy Nisula up next. Let's see. But it seems like Nikodem Wisniewski currently a lot better in the rain than Dennis Jordan. That will be an interesting one. Also, Hani Al-Sabti lost massively to Yuri Kastor.
So here's a thought. I wonder if Risto Capit was taking one for the team and saying, I will check it. Because obviously Yovsky, the race leader, the championship leader down in 8th position, he was running in 5th at the time, and obviously Yuri and Al-Sabti were ahead of him in 3rd and 4th. So effectively, he was the one with nothing to lose. Even though he's running in 5th position, it's crazy to consider. But technically, he's the worst running team member out there. So maybe he just took one for the team and said, you know what, I'll check it out. If I post really quick times, then everybody's going to come in. We'll see. But and as you mentioned, is it going to stay wet? Because it looks to me like it's brightening up.
Yeah, it's really hard to predict. I mean, it's basically like in real life as well. You just look up the race and wait for what's happening.
Kind of got some weather people that are looking at for you rather than you driving around and going, well, my wipers are pretty heavy right now. It's feeling pretty slippy. I'm going to pull in.
I got a free look cam. I can at least look up the race and actually check it, but I'm not quite sure yet if that's really the call. Let's see. Risto Capit is in 21st right now. He's right behind Jakub Brzezinski.
Look at the gap that has formed between Yuri Kastor and Al-Sabti. Bearing in mind they were challenging each other. It's now a 5-second gap. Hani Al-Sabti is
Kastor a lot better than Al-Sabti in the rain, it seems. But let's look. There, Jimmy Nisula is 5 seconds away from Brzezinski and Capit, and Nisula should be on dry tires. Brzezinski and Capit are on rain tires. So if they might do that like quickly and then get Jimmy Nisula, then it might be worth it. But I think they just lost too much with only 15 minutes left on the clock. So, by the way, that was Siebel. Alex Siebel is a lap down by now. Now Kanastrachi is a lap down by now.
3 seconds a lap, it looks like. I'm looking at like comparing it to, say, let's have a look at Kastor. Kastor 128, 130. Whereas Risto Capit 127, and I'm waiting for him to go over the line in a moment to see what the next one is. But yeah, it seems like it's about 3 seconds a lap. So the question is that enough? In the time that they go into the pits, can they regain it with, what, 15 minutes remaining?
I don't think so. This is Ferry Stanley against Shara, both still on dry tires, and Stanley really pushing hard that HM Engineering Corvette right now. See who's behind him. That's Sedlacek in the Ferrari behind, and then Sido Vaya on 18th. Bill Brzezinski and Capit, they didn't even close the gap really to Jimmy Nisula. Stanley from all the way back, great braking there, going side by side with a Porsche. Shara left the door open there, and first Stanley said thank you, throwing the Corvette right in there. He's now up to 50th.
Great little maneuver for him. Simoncic still holding strong, by the way. He's actually gained a little bit of time, and Erhan Yuyovsky has got past Jan van der Heide, so he's finally managed to make it work there. Obviously, Ravio looking to do the same, but Simoncic just got stretching his legs because they were battling behind him. These are the two you're looking at on your screen, Risto Capit and Jakub Brzezinski down in 20th and 21st. Now, let's just see how they can pick off Jimmy Nisula, who is going to be the next one. He's 2 seconds ahead of them at the moment, but they are gaining that per lap.
The guys in the background, by the way, they still use the Viper because they have all the what's it called in English, the kicked up rain from the cars in front. Spray, yeah. And Dennis Jordan has his Vipers off already. Ooh. So I think we just saw a very short.
Look at Yuri Kastor. He's caught right up behind Nikodem Wisniewski. He is loving the rain.
It's definitely not wet enough for the guys that went onto rain tires. Definitely not. I mean, if Dennis Jordan can handle that without having the Vipers on and all that, then it's not crazy enough yet. So
they're still going 3 seconds a lap quicker, but I just don't feel it's going to be quite enough.
It will drop off soon then. Like if the line now really dries up quickly, then Dennis Jordan seems to be under control again, because he's now spreading the gap to 1 second again to Nikodem Wisniewski and Yuri Kastor. Although Kastor definitely gaining on Wisniewski.
Yeah, I mean, he's closed the gap considerably. He had a little go a moment ago, but which is why he's actually dropped back a bit. Brzezinski. Okay, see, these are the two wet weathers. That's Jimmy Desula getting all slidey, and these are both on rains. So you can see Risto Capit and Brzezinski carving through. But the question is, with what, 12.5 minutes remaining, they have so much ground to make up. They're down in 20th and 19th, so they've still got so much further to go.
Yeah, I think that's a bit too much. While Shara continuing his downwards trend now with Sedlacek right behind him. I mean, he gained positions due to the guys pitting, but he's losing on track. We see Varga Sim Racing 488 now right behind that Porsche from the cockpit's perspective, and Sedlacek is launching it up the inside. Can he stop the car though? No, he can't. Shooting wide here, and that costs him a ton of time, and will take at least, I guess, another lap to get back onto Shara.
Yunus Ravio blasting past Jan van der Heide there. No problems whatsoever. Michi Hoyer actually getting up behind Van der Heide, so I can only assume there was an error in the corner just before the main straight there. So it's now on to Ravio to see if he can gain ground and catch back up with Yayovski, who is up into 7th and chasing down Yoni Simicic pretty hard.
Kastorp side by side with Wisniewski, but it seems, Wisniewski really going wide there, nearly pushing Kastorp off the track. Luckily Yuri realized that, lifted a bit, and then slotted back in behind the Williams. But these two fighting now, and that plays very well for Dennis Jordan, whose gap is now 1.5 seconds. If these two keep fighting with only 10 minutes to go, then Dennis Jordan might get really lucky without anyone attacking him.
Look at this. He's finally got past Martin Dillon. Kevin Siggy, celebration time, up to 12th place and continuing. Peopef a long way ahead of him though. There's a 4-second gap up to Peopef, so now it is past, but oh my word, Yoni Simicic and Yayovski there getting a little slidey on the corner. All very tight at the moment.
Yeah, that's another crazy fight here between Burst Esports and Roman Grosjean Esports. Can Simic hold on to 6th position? Yayovski once again trying it on the inside down to the braking zone. That should be an easy one if he's not overshooting that corner, but he is as well. It is wet, guys. It's not easy to stop that car, and with that Yayovski losing a lot of time, even in position. That's probably Michi Hoyer then.
No, that's not. It's Simicic. He's just regained back in.
Oh, yeah, he came back further down the track. You're right.
Yeah.
So then he didn't lose a lot of time.
No, he didn't really lose much.
He got lucky there. Sedlacek, by the way, passed Shara again, overshooting the corner again, and is back to 17th.
Yeah, Kastorp's, I was about to say eased off a little, but he's still hot on the heels. This is Siggy's move at last paying off for them. And you can see, my Dylan, it's like a roadblock he's trying to get past. And he finally gets his chance. And even then, Dylan's tried to turn it on him. I don't think there's going to be some friendly word conversations between those at the end of the race. There's going to be some choice words, I think, from Siggy, that's for sure. But he has managed to finally make that one stick, and hopefully he can hold station now and maybe chase on. There is a long way to go with what, just 10 minutes remaining there. I just caught wind of a penalty. I didn't see who it was.
So quickly checking Brzezinski and Capit. Brzezinski is already onto Sidovaya, so that's 19th and 18th.
It's not going to work on the outside, surely. Surely he can't make it work around the outside of Nikodem Wisniewski. He will be on the inside now, then he'll be back on the outside into turn 3. We have seen this work out. It was Yayovski that made it work on Ravio in the sprint race, but here in the wet, it's just too risky. Speaking of risky, Michi Hoyer and Jan van der Heide going for it further down.
Yeah, it seems like there's a big fight on now in every second group, and Jan van der Heide gets ninth position.
He could not be any closer to the
bumper.
Oh,
Brzezinski pulled into the pits again. Does it go back to dry tires now?
I mean, whoa, no! Wisniewski just put a toe in the water, I feel, there, because he was alongside it and then spun out. And that's going to send Nikodem rolling down the positions, and of course everybody will benefit from that one. Yeah,
giving a lot of
points. 6th place, and he's hot on the heels of Simicic, you can see here.
A lot of points now to the Roman Grosjean Esports guys again, because Kastorp and El Sabti now on 2nd and 3rd. After Nikodem Wisniewski's mistakes, Simicic versus Yayovski, that fight is still on. Obviously now they won a position with Nikodem Wisniewski dropping down to 8th, so he's right behind them and Jonas Ravio. Let's see if he can close that gap again, there's still a bit of water, but you can see that now. Like, the track is drying on specific corners, and then we have a bit of spray here, for example, on the start-finish straight. Yep, as soon as they leave the line, you see that way more water spray once they leave the ideal line. But they have to make sure when they're braking that they brake on the dry spot here if they're on dry tires. As I said, Brzezinski swapped his wet tires already for a set of dries once again. Von der Heide against Michi Hoyer. And that worked for Von der Heide at least this time, but Michi Hoyer, that was very risky there with tapping the grass once again. But the Sancho driver, Jan von der Heide, now up to 9th, and still no one challenged Dennis Jordan, who's still in first for Evolution Motorsport with just 7 minutes left.
Not quite working out. The penalty was for Brzezinski, as we saw him obviously pulling to the side. Back down. Chiara, oh, he's been defending the whole time, hasn't he? Hello, Michi Hoyer and Jan von der Heide once again going at it. Michi Hoyer has made it stick this time, and he is going to work his way through on the Sancho driver, Jan von der Heide, down into 10th place.
I have to correct myself, by the way. It was Brzezinski getting the penalty that we were talking about.
Said, yeah.
So he didn't change.
Wisniewski getting spun here, so...
Oh, touching the grass real quickly on acceleration and at the exit of that turn, and then he threw it away.
Von der Heide? Jan von der Heide down to 14th. What has happened there? So he's suddenly dropped down as well. He was running in 10th position. That's puts Peopef up into 10th in the Porsche.
It's Michi Hoyer 9th, Peopef 10th, and then it's Kevin Siggy, but it's still 6 minutes, so I would say Kevin Siggy probably still makes it into the top 5 if he's going at his usual rate. He's now passing... Oh, that is... I think that's Cedar Vaya. They're getting lapped right now. Or... Was that Alex Siebel? That's actually Alex Siebel. It's the second Evolution Motorsport car. Siebel is down a lap already. We also see Daniel Canistracci once again in the pits. At least I saw him going through pit line. And this is Sedlacek. 3rd or 4th try against Shara. Let's see if it works this time.
Wisniewski spun. He's gone down. Peopef up into 9th position now, along with everybody else. Siggy up into 10th because of that as well. So Wisniewski spinning for a second time as he goes down, down, down into the charts. And, ooh, Lorenzo Risi is actually gaining ground on Hani Al-Sabti, 3rd and 4th.
They got a lot closer to Hani Al-Sabti now. That is true, but the gap between Jordan and Kastorp after all the fighting is now 3 seconds.
Is this an unforced... I mean, there's nobody near him. It's just on the grass. It's just on the grass. You
Yeah,
can't do that in the wet.
He was trying to cut again.
I think
that was too much.
They must be feeling the line is drying out, and then they're sort of resorting back to the dry tank mentality and not realizing that it's still soaking wet out there off the racing line. I mean, that's why Yovsky right now, he's got to get right on him, and he's going to go into the heavy rain, the wet area. So we already saw him missing the braking point here because it's so wet. Let's see if it works out for him again. Yeah, he's much more cautious on the brakes this time around, and now he's going to try and stick it around the outside. It can't work. He tries to squeeze his nose up the inside, but he's back on the outside. It looks like Simic should be able to defend this.
Yeah, but great job by both drivers there, playing along through that turn. Really smooth and clean. Great racing between Simic and Yayovsky. But there is the Sancho car creeping in from the back. That's Jonas Raivio. And he gets involved immediately, showing himself on the outside of Yayovsky. Yayovsky trying to block inside line there. So Jonas Raivio back to the ideal. Maybe he can actually cut in there. No, that won't work with the right-hander coming up next. But now Raivio is clearly a part of this fight for 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Hani Al-Sabti is losing ground considerably to Lorenzo Risi. It's now down under a second. And Risi, in what will be his best finish ever so far in the GT Pro Series, is looking golden in 4th place and maybe going to be able to challenge in the final minute or so for 3rd position. We'll see, of course. Things do start to hot up with just 3 minutes remaining, and when the offline off racing line is getting a little still wet, you know, it is looking like there is a clear racing line forming, that obviously these guys, and we're watching Yayovsky again, see whether he can send it. This time he's going to be way more cautious and just respectful and look maybe for the next lap to try and make his move.
I also see that Kevin Siggy is creeping into attack distance against Peyo. Peyo on 9th right now, which would be the best result for him this season so far. We saw last season on the Porsche, having great race at Imola, for example. The Porsche was really strong there, but this season didn't really pay it off for him yet in terms of picking that car. But Kevin Siggy is on the hunt, and Kevin still has 2.5 minutes, so I think there's a chance that we see a fight there. But look at Dennis Jordan and his gap towards Yuri Kastorp. He lost time again. It's down to nearly 2.5 seconds by now, but it's also only 2.5 minutes, and it is enough for now to defend the dry line. We saw that Prior and Kevin Siggy is already on to Payo Pav. That will be a great fight once again. Siggy just so quick, that guy on the BMW. Look at that. How, like, he was up the front, then he was all the way back after what happened in sprint race. Then he has a huge comeback in this one, and this guy just can't be stopped.
Yeah, he's made up so much ground on Payo as well, because there was like a 4-second gap once he'd finally passed Martin Dillon. So he's managed to really catch up. I'm watching, keeping my eye on Yuyovsky, so while we watch this battle, it doesn't look like they're going to make the move. We are down to, what, 1 minute 40, so potentially one more lap after this. They are all over the line at the moment, almost certainly that Dennis Jordan will pass the line before the clock strikes 0, so we will have one more lap after this to confirm. And you can see Yuyovsky with Yunus Ravio hot on his heels, all looking to score as high as they can.
Also, Martin Dillon and Peter Bjerlak back in a fight, as well as these three on your screen. So we have multiple groups now fighting. Let me check a bit further down. Shara defending against Nikitin Wisniewski, who dropped to 17th after his 2 mistakes there. So both Porsches under pressure by now, and Erhan Yuyovsky, who still wants to actually make it into the top 5, but for that he has to take down Johnny Simoncic.
He's trying, he's having a look, Payo Pav, oh, he's brute force around in the corner, couldn't quite make it work, and Siggy forced to back out once again. Payo Pav, they were side by side into the corner, but you can see just behind them, Martin Dillon desperately looking to try and retake that position from Kevin Siggy as well.
That would be the worst thing to happen to Kevin Siggy if he ends up with a race behind Martin Dillon again. That's probably a huge fight then. But he wants to really pass Payo Pav to get 9th position there, and Payo wants to defend his best position this season if he actually makes it, because we're now into last lap. Yep, they crossed start-finish line again. That means this is our last shot, and also the last time for Kevin Siggy to make it into turn 1. If he wants to make a move, then it has to be now. Martin Dillon a bit further down. Also Peter Bjerlak right behind them. Payo Pav trying multiple lines into turn 1. Kevin Siggy quickly showing himself. Is there actually an opening? No, there isn't.
Oh, my word.
Great driving by both drivers. Look at that, how close they have been. No contact though.
Well, they got one more chance into turn 7. That's where we're going to see them make a move, and that's where Yuyovsky and Ravio and Simoncic are right now. It doesn't look like there's going to be any movement, though. Now, aren't looking to hold station, so it's looking like there's not going to be too much there. Dennis Jordan still coming up. Siggy, ooh, Dillon's certainly going to have a look at that. He tries to make the move, but goes up the inside of Siggy, and not going to make it work. Oh, but Siggy's through on Pev. How on earth did that work? He's getting sideways though, so a little connection there puts Siggy sideways, but he's managed to hold position. Payo Pav will retake 9th place, but Dillon will stay in 11th, so not quite able to work. Meanwhile, Dennis Jordan coming over the line to take the victory from front to back all the way, led from the start, but all the action behind him with Yuri Kastorp gaining 2nd position. Hani Al-Sabti about to go over the line, and you can see it does look like Yuyovsky will be staying down in 6th position. Lorenzo Arisi with his best ever finish in 4th place. Fantastic from him. Payo Pav will get 9th position. Kevin Siggy just about defending from Martin Dillon is going to finish in 10th place. That is from a 26th place start.
I think Kevin Siggy actually overshot that corner when he wants to last
Yes.
attack on Payo Pav there, and then they made a small contact which kept Kevin Siggy from rotating the car further as he needed to. Look at the start here, how easily he passed the first victims basically on his huge comeback during the main race, and then he has this huge army of cars right in front of him, and he needs to find the right line through them, trying to not crash, not getting spun. Great work by the Team Redline driver, once again proving why he's one of the best drivers in this pro grid, with probably a lot of overtaking for him throughout the entire race. That's for sure. But I have to say, Evolution Motorsport grabbing the... Oh, it was Kevin Siggy bumping in the back.
Yes.
Look at that.
Yeah.
That will be interesting if that later on gets
It's a penalty, maybe.
Yeah, that will be a penalty against Kevin Siggy or not, but Evolution Motorsport grabbing the very first win in the GT Pro Series in Season 2. I think they also didn't win in Season 1, so that is an absolutely first for them. Yuri Kastorp, Haniel Sapti in second and third. Lorenzo Risi, you said that already. Great work by the Waveframe Esports driver in fourth. Simoncic, he was able to defend against Yayovsky and Raimio for so long and gets rewarded with fifth place for him. Michi Hoyer, also great result for the ex GT Challenger champion, or current reigning champion actually, on 8th. Kevin Siggy still in 10th. I have to say, impressive there as well with that comeback. Payopath was able to hold on to 9th, so he will be happy to score a few points here and there. What I missed though, what happened to Shara? He was, oh no, 16th. All right, I kind of missed him. I was like, wait, did we lose another car till the end? But no, Borja Milan was the last DNF. So Kevin Rotting, unfortunately, only 23rd with kind of Stretchy and Siebel obviously a lap down. So I think 24th and 25th. That on your screen here. Arne Schönfler definitely not happy with being 22nd, that's for sure. Brzezinski, same here, misjudging the situation there. He tried with the wet tires, then also getting a penalty. So not really his main race here. And I have to say, after this, I think overall standings will change quite a lot. Not on the lead, obviously, with Yayovsky still scoring strong. But Jonas Raivio had a good race. He's currently in second. Dennis Jordan, who's in 9th, he probably overtakes Nikolai Wisniewski. So he gets a few spots on the overall result. And Martin Durlan had a good race. He's currently in 22nd, so he will score a few more points in main race. While Nuno Pinto, Borja Milan, and Robin Panzer, including Cito Vaya, basically got their ticket already for, the return to the GT Challenge Series, I feel. They didn't score that well here, but they still have Spa in front of them.
I mean, it was at 22 points for 9th place for Pev, so he'll be loving that. I mean, that's going to put him on, 494? So he's still in the relegation, but he's not in the auto relegation. He's in a chance effectively the promotional playoffs or drive off or what we want to call it, qualifications that actually he took part in last time and came out on top in before. So he's got, obviously, Spa. Clearly, the Porsche delivered here, and he drove well in the wet, but still a long way ahead for the drivers down in the bottom side. And as you mentioned, Martin Drillen obviously getting in that 11th position. He was on 497 as well, so he was also looking to score some big points here, and it worked out well for him. So a couple of drivers going to be changing places, no doubt, at the lower end of the table. Back up the top, well, we know that Yayovsky leading probably is, I think it's actually his, no, I was about to say his worst finish, but obviously in Nürburgring, he didn't have a great finish in the main race either. But again, he gets the 20 points from the sprint race, which is massive for him. He's really consistent.
He definitely is. I mean, there's a reason for why he is our championship leader, but Al Sapti, after the strong result here again, will stay close to Yayovsky, and also Johnny Simoncic, who is in third right now. Will gain some points after this. We will obviously return on 21st of December for the very last round of Season 2 of the rFactor 2 GT Pro Series powered by VCO. Don't miss that. We will crown a new champion, and we'll obviously know who's not making it into Pro Series, who will make it into relegation. So it will be very exciting race. There will also be another race next Monday with the GT Challenge powered by VCO, which is commentated by Lewis McLeod and Aidan Millward. So make sure you're around next Monday on the same channels. We'll be on VCO, will be on the race, and also on rFactor 2 Twitch channel. So everywhere to watch. Check out our socials, be informed about everything. Check out the standings on our Studio 397 forum, where you find all the information about the current standings of both series, so you can be informed and get everything you need. Nothing more to say, though. Make sure next Monday. Otherwise, 21st for the season finale at Spa-Francorchamps. Until then, my name is Rennie Butler, and Lee Smith, thanks for joining me once again. I'll see you guys next time.